Hello and welcome. It is October, it is Sunday, and it is afternoon, which means it's time for Morgan's not so lazy Preptober Sunday afternoon. So, with me
Significantly
today,
less lazy.
significantly less lazy. Sako is off at the Maryland Ren Fest, where she mistakenly thought it was the last weekend, but she's still enjoying it, so I don't think there's a problem. So I have Doc with me.
Hi.
He said hi to the nice people without even prompting.
That's right.
I have you well trained. So
That's not appropriate. Any comment I make is not appropriate for this podcast. So on we go. Hi, nice people. I'm Doc Coleman. As you can tell, I write comedy. I also write steampunk and adventure and mix them up a bit. And if you're interested in looking at my stuff, just go to your favorite search engine and search on Doc Coleman Steampunk, and you should find all of it. There, I am introduced.
very nice. Very nice. Excellent. Excellent. And I am your host, Morgan Hazelwood. I write fantasy. I'm an actively querying fantasy author. And I blog, vlog, and podcast because clearly I have no respect for my own limits. Writing tips from the pros from sci-fi fantasy genre conventions that I love to attend, and of course my own writerly musings along this lovely journey towards hopefully publication and world domination, as one does. So right now I am in the midst of Preptober. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Preptober is in October and it is prepping for November, and November is National Novel Writing Month, otherwise known as NaNoWriMo. Other pronunciations are wrong because if you think about the words that they are representing, my pronunciation, national, so na, rimo, so writing, month, so mo, and yeah.
Novel is no.
Yeah, novel is no.
Novel is no. No.
Right. So I am wrong and everyone else is wrong. Wait, I'm right, and anyone
everyone
who
else
disagrees is wrong. There we go.
Are there people who actually have alternate ways of pronouncing NaNoWriMo?
I've heard Remo.
Oh, they're just dropping the front of it, just like some people call it nano and some call it Remo. But
I'm fine with Rimo, but not Remo because it's writing, not reading. Unless they're reading for November, which is fine. I know it doesn't work for everybody, especially since, it's November's a busy month for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. So,
yeah. And it looks like mine is going to be a Nano Edmo.
It happens.
I'm still trying to get on top of all the edits that my editor gave me, which would probably be a lot easier if I put more actual time into working on it. But that darn day job is getting in the way.
Shake your fist. So, as a heads up, I'll let people know at the end of the stream, I will not be here next weekend. Just like last year, I am taking a weekend off or a Sunday evening off, not the entire weekend, please. In prep to relax and recuperate before diving into November head first. Okay. So, I mean, Halloween weekend, I'm not going anywhere because time is short, but the weekend before I've started taking a little time away, hiking through the woods, enjoying the autumn weather we have here in Virginia. So
that works nicely for me because next Saturday I'm going to the Renaissance Festival one more time just to go have fun. So nice. I will be needing Sunday to recover anyway.
That makes sense. So you are working on your novel. I am working on my Preptober stuff. So I've been working on some world building. I've been working on, last week, I came up with a bunch of names that I can just grab and go. I like to have names that fit in my world that I really like. I need to pick out some last names because I'm doing a suburban fantasy, which is more contemporary, and contemporary people require last names. At least on occasion. So, and
Sometimes they only go by their last names, but
exactly, or their nicknames or what have you.
Mhm.
So, today's goal though is to plot my entire manuscript.
Dun dun dun.
In my lovely high level sort of plotting technique, I like to go to Jamie Gold's beat sheets. I think this one might be from Save the Cat, but I'm not sure. And it's just a pacing element and reminds me of, notionally what sort of pacing, because that's what I worry about the most. I
Mhm.
love world building, I love my characters, but I do occasionally worry a little about my pacing. So
I was to say, so you take 5 darts and you throw them at the wall, and then you go over and you label them as what they are, and they're
yeah, yeah. So I have tons of characters. This is going to be like a found family thing, but I think for pacing purposes, she needs to spend more of the story alone and struggling
Mhm.
before she can start to get her head above water.
Mhm.
So,
So it's going to be more of an introspective book.
I I mean, have you ever seen The Babadook?
No, I don't
It's a
even know what
horror movie
a
that
Babadook.
I highly recommend.
Okay.
It's really good, but it is exhausting to watch. You totally empathize with the main character because of the mood that they establish
Mhm.
so thoroughly. And so, while I don't want to be quite that dark and despairing, because that doesn't really come to me naturally, I do want to make sure I set up bad guys
Mhm.
and bad things that happen to good and bad people, because that's life.
Yeah.
So I do have trouble making being mean to characters, and that's something I want to work on in this book, is being mean.
Being mean to characters.
Right? So I have found if I don't work at it, I end up having the character progress towards the goal with not enough roadblocks. Because sometimes roadblocks really feel like, to me, a D&D adventure where there's a random encounter on the way. And so to make that, roadblock feel natural and something that's going to run into takes, I think, a little more planning than I just like to call out the coconut pirates in Moana. It was a cute scene. It filled 5 minutes. It was not foreshadowed. It was never mentioned again. And like, it did not progress the plot other than, I guess you can argue it's the first time they worked together.
Yeah,
But
that's the argument I would make, that they
but
had common cause,
if
but
if we'd had grandma
Mhm.
mention them in one of her stories in the beginning, like you see the shadow or like the drawing of it, or like it being mentioned as one of the dangers of the big wide world when dad's saying don't go out there, it would have felt more fitting. But all of the mythological and cultural elements they dropped in were not foreshadowed. They were just, and now there's a shiny crab, and now there's this. I think,
I could have sworn that there was one of those drawings that was of a big monster that you later find out is actually one of the coconut monsters not drawn to scale. But
I could
it
be wrong.
I
I
could be wrong.
just,
Yeah.
I just think that one line of "you don't want to go out there, there's monsters and this and that"
Mhm.
would have set it up and, made it not feel, here's a random encounter with coconut pirates. And now back to our adventure.
Yeah.
It
I
felt like
enjoyed the
filler.
scene.
It felt like filler that didn't forward the plot to me, and I have problems with it. I do.
See, I'm myself rather fond of
Pirates.
oh, I'm fond of heist movies where you
Uh,
have these intricately planned things, and then something very simple happens that wasn't anticipated, and it screws the whole thing up. And
I do love a good caper. I am a
Mhm.
huge fan of caper movies. Do not listen to Netflix if it suggests Mulholland Drive as if you like caper movies, you might like this.
Mulholland Drive is not a caper.
It is not. It's a mystery. You
Mhm.
might say it's a, but it's not a caper. And if you like David Lynch stuff, you'll love it. But if you're going into it looking for a caper, you will be sorely disappointed and deserve chocolate chip cookies after sitting through it and waiting for the fun caper that never happens.
But I'm sure you know for reading my books, I definitely like a tendency for things to just go wrong.
Right, right, which is totally fine,
Mhm.
totally fine. So I just felt like they could have laid a little more groundwork for that one, like any groundwork whatsoever.
Mhm. Um, I don't know.
So
Usually, the easiest way to be mean to your characters is to give them active opposition, and oh, things are going too well. Oh, active opposition pops up. It's like, okay, they're shooting at us. Now what do we do? Try not to get hit because those guys can shoot.
yeah, yeah. My B plot I've known for ages, which is
Mhm.
basically she inherits a house and it's falling apart. And anytime things start to go well, something breaks.
Right.
And she's an adjunct professor and she's trying to get enough kids to sign up for her classes between 3 different schools such that she can actually afford food. So
And we have a Catticus sighting.
we did have a Catticus sighting. So did we want to bet on whether or not Catticus leaps at my head this session? There's a 25% chance he will leap at my head at some point.
I don't think he's leapt at your head quite that often, but
Okay, I think
you
it's been
you
maybe quarterly.
you do now have this fun stick thing coming out from your face, and you got this dangly cord. So
Yeah, yeah. So I do have a roommate now, so I'm trying to be a little considerate and not make her be so silent while I'm streaming. And
Mhm.
she's getting groceries, so she should be back at some point. So,
Okay.
and I'm doing laundry. I'm being all sorts of productive, and I'm making a garage door monster.
No, okay.
Yesterday, a friend helped me cut out like these giant teeth that are like 8 feet long.
Okay.
And they're gonna be attached to the bottom of the garage door and the frame. So when the garage door closes, it looks like it's going chomp chomp.
Okay.
And and these eyes, and I got some green paint for the eyes and some glow in the dark green paint, and I'm super excited. But they got primed yesterday, and I put the base coat of white on the teeth and the eyes, but I didn't have enough flat surfaces for the second set of teeth. So
You know, one gets the impression that you kind of like Halloween.
I mean, it's fun. It's fun, and it's a great season. Autumn is just great. I
Yeah.
just wanna celebrate autumn. And, my front yard is full of grave, stones and flying witches, and, I
My front yard is
have
full of grave misgivings. No.
I had to swing by a pumpkin patch today to pick up a pumpkin for obvious reasons. But I have a stand for pumpkins to go on that's like, I don't know, 2.5 feet high, and it's
Mhm.
plastic and it's black, and it looks like a little kid with no head. And then it's got a
Okay.
skeleton on it. So it's a little skeleton kid, and you put a pumpkin on it, and then it's got a pumpkin head.
Cool.
And its name is Oliver. I don't know why.
Hmm.
Oh, because the 2 years before I got it, I carved my pumpkin into an owl. So it's clearly Owliver.
Oh, okay. And here I was trying to remember famous owls of history that were named Oliver. No,
No, no, no, no,
went the
no.
wrong way.
Owliver.
I was waiting for a different Oliver twist.
Nice one. Nice one. Oh, did you see my choker necklace?
Mhm.
So I want to tell a short story about it and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Uh, so I went for a massage because my shoulders and neck are crap. And I'd been for one about 2 weeks ago with the same guy. And at this particular um, massage place, each person has like their own set room. so they don't really have to pack up all their stuff in between
Right.
sessions and stuff. So I come in, I have my massage, I go to get ready, and I'm gathering my keys and stuff, and I look behind, like, the little footstool that they give you to sit on to change,
Mhm.
and where I usually put my clothes and stuff, and I found this, and I was like, "Wait, this is mine. Did I wear it here 2 weeks ago?" And I went to the front desk, and was like, "Hey, this is mine, which is great, but maybe you'll need to move those footstools when vacuuming."
Mm.
They said they do really well, under the massage table and the walk path, but, it was in the back corner. So I'm
Mhm.
just like, step it up a little, but I'm glad to have it back.
Just
So
it waited for you. It
it
waited so
did. And I would have never thought to ask there, so I would have never
Mhm.
gotten it back. I would have just assumed Catticus was playing with it
Nom, nom, nom.
and it was lost forever because he likes to chew through plastic and hair elastics.
Mhm.
So anyway, I have productivity to do. You have productivity to do. I think some of the people hanging out with us might have some productivity that
And I
they want
I
to do.
see we have a Ginny Noble in the audience.
We do. Hello, Jenny. And hello, any lurkers who are hanging out. We like people who say hi, but we don't mind if you lurk and hang out. Do let us know in the comments if you feel like it, what snack you are having today.
Ah, my snack du jour is Chex Mix
Ooh,
Turtle. Felt
nice.
like something sweet today. Uh,
I hear you. Come on. Resizing the window. There we go.
okay.
So
So I'm still struggling with my single laptop screen. Um,
I
after
thought you ordered one.
after last week's conversation, my wife was sitting here on the couch and she ordered me additional screens,
Okay.
and they came in and we put them on, and then discovered that they work fine with Windows machines and with Macs, except for the new M1 chips.
Oh no.
Guess what I got last year? The
One of
new
the new Macs with the M1 chips?
Yep. But the good news is that there is a pro version of the same thing, um, that does work with the Macs with the M1 chips, and actually has uh, uh, larger screens.
Ooh.
They've got a better diagonal on them. So we've packed up the old one, and this week we need to process the return and ship it back so we can order the new one. So I'm,
Nice.
I'm laboring under the single screen, but hopefully by the time we come back in 2 weeks, I will have extra screens and be able to manage more stuff more efficiently.
That sounds pretty awesome. And I see that Jenny has some blueberry tea and ginger cookies, which
Mm,
sound delicious to me.
love me some
Not
ginger
this
cookies.
sprint, but next sprint, I will be bringing out my snacks. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1. Boom. Chakalaka. Oh, hi, baby. No. Yeah. Hi. Oh my goodness, you do dessert treats, don't you? Oh, we do normal treats. Let's go get you some treats. This is kitty dessert treats. Of course it is. Such a cute. Here's your treats, ma'am. And we're back. Sorry, someone was threatening my ankles. Oh,
Were they?
they were indeed. So I grabbed a blanket to protect them.
Mhm.
Somebody demanded a lot of playtime, is
Mm.
super wound up, and thinks Mama is the most boringest.
Well, now he's got your roommates to play with, right?
Yeah, but nobody's been home for a bit, so it's been a boring day. It's out and about doing pumpkin-y stuff, and the roommate was running errands and whatnot. So how was your sprint? What did you get done?
I think I got about half of a scene done. A lot of notes, but doesn't feel like a lot of progress yet. Maybe I'll speed up in the next sprint.
Okay.
But,
Go ahead.
looking at a lot of comments from my editor about describe this, describe that. Oh, that's actually a good description. Do it all through this whole thing. Yeah.
Hey, but sometimes you just want to describe the important parts and not
Yeah.
everything. So,
Exactly.
remember, you can ignore a third of it and still get your money's worth.
Mm-hmm. And she says I could ignore half of it and still have a much better book. So it's like, okay, take all the grammar parts. No.
Right. So, I found that I always go to Jamie Gold's website for the beat sheets, and her links right now are just linking to their location on the screen. So I'm gonna have to reach out to her and let her know that her links are broken.
That's bad.
But I went to Nano 2021 planning in my own spreadsheets,
Oh, nice.
and I copy pasted me using it last year, and I just deleted the plot things that I'd put in, and I'm starting the new ones for the new story.
So you're using the same beat sheet as you did last year, just for a different story?
Yeah.
Okay.
I use the same beat sheet every time, and I use it as a guide, a reference, not as a rule book.
Oh yeah. No, I pretty much devise my own beat sheets for all my stories because I don't know. I thrive on the whole self-taught bit of it.
Hey, I'm pretty self-taught too. I just,
Mm.
I have a confession to make. I have not read Save the Cat.
I have not read Save the Cat, so
Like so many people have. It's
but
so popular,
I
and it's
I have
based
cats
on
that say save me, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, it's obviously I use their beat sheets. I just don't do the actual thing. So
Mm.
I I
Everyone has
plan
their own
to
style.
eventually, but I just haven't done it yet. So what you gonna do? Uh, in the chat, Autumn Queen, hello and welcome. Autumn Queen is working on planning chapters of their book called Project Demon. Dun dun dun. I really need a better name for my story than suburban fantasy. And I just realized if I'm starting off with a funeral, I need a lot more family members and that family dynamic defined before I get started. I have my favorite characters all sorted out, but I haven't. Yeah. Autumn Queen says they can send the plot. You can share it if you want. You're not
Mhm.
obligated. We're mostly just checking in to see how people are
Mhm.
doing and how the sprint worked for them. So,
So since you said your story starts with a funeral and you don't have a lot of family members, well, maybe that's part of the reason why this main character got stuck with this house.
yeah, but I think I want, relatives that haven't been pulling their weight thinking they deserve it and that sort of funness.
Mm.
And, why is she that close to her grandmother? Well, we need to figure out the, exact family dynamic between her parents and, like,
Oh,
step parents or what have you.
so
Um,
that fun additional plot from the the child of the cousin's second wife that thinks that they have a better claim to grandma's house than you do because she's only your grandma.
right, right. And, she's not local and she didn't help take care of her and she didn't,
Mhm,
visit her when she was in the assisted living place for the last 18 months, because she
mhm.
couldn't live on her own anymore. And, I know that much. So I'm going to wave to Heather. Thank you for swinging by. Uh, and Autumn Queen shared their entire plot with us. So we have Jetta Gray wants to break the social norms living in the society where demons and other non human creatures are bad. There are orphans on the street that the humans don't want because they just want human babies, and people believe that all non human creatures are evil. A person secretly opens a hospital for the non humans to live at. The man shows the non human creatures how to act and suppress their powers to be hidden and safe. Jetta Gray meets the love interest and it has to stay a secret because the love interest isn't a good guy. And if the person in charge of the hospital where she stays finds out, they'll kick her out because the love interest is dangerous. Dun, dun,
Mm.
dun. So,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. So, um,
I was looking at that and thinking it's like you could do this as a fantasy series with demons, or you could use it as a sci-fi series with aliens. Uh,
I mean, sci-fi and fantasy is, technology with the serial numbers filed off.
fantasy romance. Okay.
Excellent. So, super cool. So, are we feeling productive? Are we feeling like snacks? What do you think?
Snap.
Oh, well, I mean, we're already snacking. Okay. So, I think it's
But
time for another sprint and for me to grab a snack.
okay, and I can try to be productive while I'm snacking.
Right? So, Autumn says that the romance guy is a bad boy named Story Island.
Okay.
That is a fun name.
Okay, so we've identified the source of his trauma that caused him to be bad. No.
Or he took the name, I don't know.
This is true.
So, Autumn likes
Excuse
unique
me.
names. So, okay. I'm super excited to figure out what happens in Act 2. Um, I might plan Act 2 this sprint, or I might start figuring out exactly the whole family situation with her parents. So,
Mhm.
um, while eating an apple cider donut that I got
Mm.
at the pumpkin plate patch today,
Apple cider donut sounds good. I haven't had donuts
right?
in a long time.
And I'm gonna put it in my face, and it's gonna be delicious.
Your face is going to be delicious.
No, the food that goes into my face will be.
Oh, okay.
So, Autumn is planning chapter 4. That's a good
Good.
place to be. We still have half a month left before Nano. Nano is coming. Nano is coming. Okay.
No.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and share the timer. And let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1. Boom. Chakalaka. And we're back. Sorry, can you hear it so well when it's on top of my head?
Looking to hear it, it's just a little bit quieter.
Yeah. So, okay. How was your sprint?
Well, I finished off the comments for the one chapter and started into the next one, but my snacking has not been nearly as efficient as it should have been. So,
That happens.
yeah.
I had my donut and it was delicious. And I'm at the resolution, which, you know, so I was
You're-
just typing up exactly how I was solving everything in the last, 50
oh,
pages.
oh, the ending. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Like
Sorry.
at the resolution is what you're going to swear to write this book next year or not?
No, no, no. The story's resolution. The resolution of the story. Very different things. So
Oh,
I'm just not sure if it's stressful enough or if it's got enough supernatural elements in it, but maybe they'll come in more when I'm writing it.
hmm.
So,
I don't know. I guess I guess it kind of depends on how obvious you want your supernatural elements to be. Because from when you described the story last week, it sounded like things would start off very subtle, and as the stakes build, the obviousness of the supernatural elements build.
yeah, yeah. But I think part of my issue with that is I kind of want the supernatural stakes to build across books, although maybe not in the
Hmm.
I want to set it up in the first one, but I want to leave a lot of space to grow. Um,
So you're planning this to be a multi-book
I
story?
am. I've never planned a series before, so this is a new experience for me.
Mhm.
But I do have some plot elements and some things that I want to come to pass. And I was like, hey, wait, putting it all in one book is moving a little fast. And so I hit, and urban fantasy for the most part lends itself quite well to a series sort of situation.
Mhm.
It's almost expected, at least in the ones I read. So I this week's blog post was on sustainable series strategies with Mary Robinette Cowell and
Mhm.
Shannon McGuire and a lot of people who write.
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch that, but I haven't had the chance.
I understand. So
Because
so I
I'm hoping my story plan fits in there.
oh yeah, definitely. They have more overarching
Mhm.
ideas and like when to wrap it up and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Uh, so And how often can you cliffhanger a book?
I have my own opinion about that.
So, according to Shannon McGuire, it's once every about 5 books if it's a long-running series.
Mm.
You you get the contract for the first trilogy and then the
Mhm.
second trilogy, and once you know you're gonna do 3 more, then you can cliffhanger book 2. Um,
Mm.
but you don't wanna do it every book, and you don't wanna do it every second book of a trilogy because
Yeah,
that just sets up too much silliness.
yeah. See, my personal opinion is you never cliffhanger a book. You always cliffhanger chapters. Uh,
So, so yeah, my favorite way to cliffhanger a chapter is to write the chapter all the way through the scene, and then in edits, change where the chapter ends.
oh yeah,
It
that's
makes it
actually
so
exactly
much
what I
easier.
do.
It's
Yeah.
so easy,
Well,
and
actually,
and it's so much better for pacing.
I don't write I don't write chapters so much as in first draft I write scenes.
Mhm.
So if I feel there's a good place for cliffhanger ending, I write it in the scene and then pick it up afterwards, which sometimes gets me comments that it's like, well, this scene should have gone with the previous one. It shouldn't be a scene break. And it's like, well, that's because it was a potential chapter ending. So, but everyone has their own technique.
everyone has their own technique. But yeah, I'm trying to learn more about chapter pacing because, as I
Mhm.
said, pacing is always the thing that I worry the most about because I want to make sure people want to read more, and I maybe it's ego, but I think my world building's solid and that, my words and sentences are quite legible and, so
Well, think about what it is that when you're reading makes you not no, actually, that's a really bad example because your idea
I
of not putting the book down is not until you get to the last page and it's read.
yeah, yeah, and I would say 90% of books I finish in one sitting. It might be a 4-hour sitting or a 12-hour sitting, but
So find friends who don't finish books all at once and ask them what makes them want to keep reading.
that is, in fact, part of my questionnaire when I send out my manuscript is, "When did you put down the book?" Um,
Mhm.
so, yeah, when did your interest, lull enough that you set it down so you could go do something else and then come back to it later, that kind of thing.
That's a nice idea. I may use that next time I have to send a book out to beta readers.
Yeah, yeah, so I can link my 10 questions to ask your beta readers with, 3 additional ones because, but I found the best way to get what you want out of your, um, beta readers to get the feedback you're looking for is to ask for the feedback you're looking for.
Mhm.
So, uh, beta read. Here we go. And I'll just pop that in the chat.
Mhm.
So Patrick
Okay.
volunteers to tell me
Yeah.
when he gets bored. Yeah, but I write fantasy. I think you would get bored on page 1.
Patrick is not a big fantasy fan?
He is not. He's also not a romance fan. He
Uh,
mostly likes, I think, contemporary. So, and maybe some historically stuff, as long as it's not too fantastic.
hmm.
So, Patrick is my partner for rewriting other people's queries and first pages and synopses. And I am usually his interpreter for, no, that's normal in fantasy. It will read fine. And this is how it's usually stated. Uh, so we will be having actually a query helpline session tomorrow night from 9:30 till midnight Eastern time. If anyone is interested in having fresh eyes, look at their synopses, queries, or first pages. And Patrick and I have been doing this almost every other week for the last 3-4 months now as a fundraiser for reproductive rights because we believe in those that, a person's health decisions are between her and her doctor and perhaps her partner, but not between her and the state. So, if that is a cause you believe in or you just donate, let us know that you donated. It can be $1, it can be $200, whatever you feel like. We don't want to put a dollar limit. But yeah, so.
So what did y'all do? We told
Yeah,
you what we did. Tell us what
right?
you did. You did do something on the sprint, right?
Did you snack? Did you do some laundry? Did your cat leap on your head?
My cats are curled up on the couch snoring away. Uh, oh,
Sorry, I was finishing what I was typing right when the timer went off,
the
so I
timer went.
wouldn't forget my thought because we know how dangerous that is. So Patrick is resting from a 2-hour session from last night. He got a synopsis recently that he won't have to gash because it already fits on a page. So right now it's about clarity and making sure it says what the writer intended it to say.
So he's going to have to chop it up for completely different reasons than usual.
No. There's a difference between cutting versus changing word choices. Trimming something
It's
from
still
5
surgery.
trimming
Oh, yeah.
something from 5 pages to 1 is hard.
Is a much more radical surgery, yes.
Yes, yes. So he doesn't have to cut things, he just has to polish them, exchange. So, oh my goodness, that was exciting. I'm not sure if it's the right story, but I have a shape. So I might
Okay.
let it rest a little and then revisit and see if maybe I should be fitting more plot into book 1 or if that would just be rushing it.
So how many books have you planned out now?
I am going with I know where I'm starting, I know a couple middle points, and I know how it's ending, but plot points will grow and we'll see as it goes.
So you know that it's gonna be more than one book, but you're
Yes.
not sure exactly how long it's gonna be.
Not at this point. I think I really need to get a better grasp on exactly what the supernatural in this world looks like. And I've noticed that some of my brainstorming fell into particular tropes that I don't want to necessarily follow. So I need to back up a little and revisit them.
So, as I recall from last time,
Mhm.
when we were talking about your story, um, everything kind of fell into a certain supposition that the supernatural creatures were bad, and that
Oh, no,
was
no, no. No, no, no,
okay.
no. No.
So there's wait, do supernatural creatures have a place in modern society, or are they mostly disbelieved?
I'm not
And if you're not sure, that's fine.
some of them hide in plain sight
Mhm.
and some of them are disbelieved.
Okay.
Um, so and some of them are like, "Yeah, I've heard about that, but I didn't think it was real. I thought people were kidding or,
Mhm.
it was just a myth," even though I knew the thing and the stuff.
Yeah, and I know you'd mentioned that at one point you talked about discovering that one of the new roommates was actually a supernatural
Supernatural. Yeah,
creature.
yeah.
Now,
So, I'm not sure if that's gonna happen in this book or not.
just in terms of a way of looking at a longer story,
Mhm.
you have the story of how the roommate gets discovered as the supernatural creature, and you can either
I
end it
think
there by
I think
having them get rid of them,
yeah.
or you can actually give the creature a chance to argue that they should be allowed to stay.
Yeah, yeah. So the person who ends up being supernatural, and I'm gonna have them sort of tied into plants. So they're going to, basically hibernate in the winter.
Mm,
So they're going to sleep a lot and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if it's going to come out in the next book or the one after. But yeah, so
okay. I was just thinking in terms of, uh, if it's a creature that's normally thought of as being problematic and it insists that it will behave right and obey the house rules, just please let me stay. Then you can always add further drama of other persons or things coming in looking for this one.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I don't know, just a thought crossed my head.
So yep, yep, definitely thoughts and things to consider. But I think it's time for another sprint. I need to figure out exactly who my main character's family is.
Yeah, so that you can argue with them, right?
Right? How else can I argue with a family if I don't know who they are? And everybody needs last names. Ugh.
Ugh.
So
I
Okay.
don't know. Sometimes his names can be fun.
Oh, yeah, 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 but my main character is an adjunct professor, so she needs a last name.
True.
So and probably her ex-boyfriend whose house or apartment they're sharing and she split up, he
Mhm.
probably needs a name, especially since he's a jerk and spent their money on a car and she dumped him for reasons and things, and then the debt collectors have her name on the repossessed car, and she's quite annoyed.
Yeah. Did they actually repossess the car? They just coming after her for the money.
They repossessed and they're coming after her for the
Oh,
debt.
okay.
Yeah. And she's like, no, my name was never on that. That was forged
Mhm.
because he doesn't have good enough credit." But anyway,
Okay.
things and stuff that clearly are not supernatural, but,
Yep.
happen when you're writing in a real world.
As long as it's not tax evasion.
I mean, that's a classic.
All right.
So
So it's
okay.
6 o'clock. We were going to start another sprint, right?
Yes, yes. Set timer, 22 minutes because it's 2022 and Morgan is easily amused.
Mhm.
Autumn says chance and then romance. Oh, yeah. So let's go ahead and get started in a 3, 2, 1, boom. Alright. And we're back. So Autumn was super sweet and tried to give me some suggestions for names, but I don't think they actually work for my setting, which is the whole reason I pick out names. I'm super picky about names before I start NaNoWriMo so I can fast draft without struggling to find names that I think fit my setting and flow well. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be uh it's not going to be a fantasy setting. It is going to be a supernatural urban fantasy, which is not strictly fantasy. So I've got a couple of characters with unique names, but the majority of people are going to have boring names because that's how real life works, and it's a almost real setting. So, uh,
Well, those aren't bad names. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, other people could use them. Hey,
So
uh,
Autumn's suggestions were Eswood, Quinn. I love Quinn, but I'm banned from using it because I have a niece named Gwen and it sounds the
uh,
same. And Lexington, Lex. My main character's name is Alexis, and she goes by Lexi. So
mhm.
True, Ridley. I
I,
think
I I have to
Ridley's a
say
little
I
overused.
love Eswood for an irritable cousin. Uh,
Oh, I do. Eswood's definitely pretty fun. Um, Ridley, I think, got a little overused in especially
thanks to aliens.
yeah, yeah. Silverling, I think, sounds like a dragonette.
Actually, I
Uh,
guess aliens was Ripley, but yeah,
yeah,
still
yeah.
that same sound.
Well, Scott Ridley is, like, the director for the whatever.
Okay.
So, Skyling, Starling, definitely got the hippie vibe if you need it, if you're not in a fantasy setting. So,
Or
um
even if you're in a setting where you have hippies. So
oh, I said I was doing
hippies.
supernatural, so Autumn had to suggest Sam Dean and Cass. I think that's
Of
a little
course.
too on the money. Ah, so, how was your sprint?
Um, let's see. How well did I do? I think I got halfway into the yeah, into this new chapter. So, I just tripped over the into the first paragraph at the end of the last sprint. I got about halfway through it this time. So,
Okay.
not bad. It's, it's I'm finding that the comments are definitely grouped.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I picked out what relatives I wanted, and then I went down a rabbit hole trying to research if what holidays were celebrated by the peoples living here before the Europeans came.
Mhm.
And they've got a little bit about the gods, but they don't actually have anything about the holidays other than that there were some and that they used, you know, um, a lot of drums and percussive instruments at their celebrations
Mm.
while dancing. And I'm like, that's not helpful at all, but thank you for trying.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot of that stuff either got I was going to say lost, but really the answer is willfully destroyed. But and people have worked very hard to preserve what little is left.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, the regional, it was a specific type of Eastern Algonquin that they spoke, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody's left that speaks it. So they
Mm-hmm.
can, and nothing was written. So it's a struggle. Even though I know that there are some tribes that are still local that never went away, because I grew up right near the Mattaponi and the Pamunkey Indian reservations in Tidewater,
Mm-hmm.
Virginia, and they got their reservation before from England before America was a country. And but the amount of resources and stuff they got and the amount of land they had was very minimal and maybe not great for sustenance, but
Mm-hmm.
um, they were never forced to move,
Mm-hmm.
or at least that's where they were forced to move to, and if so, it was before the founding of America. So
Nobody ever found anything valuable on their land and decided to come up with an excuse to push them off.
well, I think they got pushed back from the coast, so they couldn't do as much,
Mm-hmm.
fishing, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
But so
But we'll
anyway,
save that for the next edition of Europeans Do Horrible Things. So,
I mean, if you pretty much a lot of people do a lot of horrible
oh yeah,
things should they be in a position to do so. And, the Powhatan Confederacy wasn't exactly nice to everybody they welcomed into their confederacy.
hmm.
They may not have given them options.
Yeah.
So, uh, so how was your sprint?
We started with how my sprint was.
Oh, right, right. It was good.
I got
And you
halfway into
posted
my chapter. So,
great. So how about people watching from home? What did you get done during the
yep.
productivity sprint? If it was eating a snack, we all know that Morgan streams are 100% pro snacking.
Back
Um,
fuel.
so I'm also trying to decide on the ages of my characters. So,
Mm-hmm.
going pretty well.
Mm. Now, I was just taking a look at the stats on my manuscript, and it's like 100, almost 106,000 words.
Nice. What were you aiming at for the completed
I,
version?
normally I aim at 100,000 words because
Okay.
for uh, uh, for sci-fi, for fantasy, steampunk, anything where you can do a little bit of letting people flesh it out for themselves, but you really
Mhm.
have to describe things to give the color of it. 100,000 seems to be a good sweet spot. And the last book was more adventure, and this is more intrigue. And so there's more discussions between people over stuff. So it tended to run a bit long.
Yeah, yeah,
But
I get that.
we will see how it deals when I actually get to the point where I start applying changes and doing cuts, because half the things I've got are cuts, and the other things are more description.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So
ooh, I just realized that maybe the issue is the stepbrother's mother thinks he should inherit from the grandparent that wasn't actually his and he never helped out with.
mhm. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying before. It's like somebody else who's not actually a blood relation thinks they have a better claim than you do when you're a blood relation. No.
Yeah, yeah. So, I have a Catticus curled up at my feet, and
Aw.
in case you heard me talking to him earlier, I was telling him that he is in fact the meowiest. Um,
Mine
so
are the snoriest.
Autumn was going to rewrite their book Cracked Halo, then got new book project
Mhm.
Demon. So that's super fun.
Cool. Angels and demons. I sense a trend.
I sense a theme.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm gonna keep working on naming characters and stuff, but we are at 6:30. So if people want to go get dinner and stuff, I'm willing to call the end of the sprint.
End of the cast. Or are you saying
Yeah.
that you're going to go on?
No, the end of the stream,
Stream.
the
Yep.
live stream. Yeah. Yeah. So Autumn asked, what's the theme? Um, right now we're just doing Preptober and getting ready for NaNoWriMo. We were wondering about your theme with your halos and your demons.
Yeah, that's why I said angels and demons. Are
So
you asking me what's the theme of our books?
for me, it's definitely a found family story.
Mhm. And um, I don't know. I've definitely got found family themes in among things. Although in this book, I'm actually introducing more blood family and more conflicts with blood family. Now that I stop and think about it, um, and uh, it's this kind of court intrigue adventure. There's a kidnapping and having to recover people, and and lots of officious people not wanting to accept help and then not doing a good job of managing things on their own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Autumn wanted us to guess what their theme
Oh, what do you think
was. Well,
her thing is?
you told us the plot, so I would expect it's uh dealing with whether people are born evil or if it's a choice.
I was going to say it sounds like there's a certain amount of racism in there.
Yeah.
You're just dealing with the humans versus non-humans as opposed to any other races. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So, okay. Well,
I,
I think I am well on my way to being ready for NaNoWriMo is coming.
hmm,
Autumn says, oh, we are in fact correct.
yeah.
So, um, so let's go ahead and tell people where to find us and peace out for now.
Okay. So I'm Doc Coleman. You can find me by going to your favorite search engine and searching for Doc Coleman Steampunk. Or if you're watching this on YouTube and you don't feel like doing that, guess what? For your convenience, the links are all down below in the comments. But I write steampunk comedy adventure. My first book, the Perils of Prague, is out there, as are some anthologies and a collection of short stories. I am diligently working on the edits, hopefully the final edits for my second book, The Kindred of Kali, which I hope to have ready to publish for this Christmas. Fingers crossed. But if I don't get it by Christmas, it'll definitely be out next year because a year is a long time.
It is. And I'm your host, Morgan Hazelwood, and I write fantasy. I'm an actively querying author, and I'm working on prepping for what, book six, my sixth novel right now. And you can also find me blogging, vlogging, and podcasting, writing tips from the pros, and my own writerly musings. Over on the podcast this week, I was talking about the importance of kindness. So that's writing tips and writerly musings. And over on the blog, I was sharing my notes from some very famous and award winning authors on writing sustainable series. And I was sharing this week's author spotlight interview with Elizabeth Lavender. So go check that out over on morganhazelwood.com or on the YouTubes at Morgan Hazelwood slash or YouTube slash Morgan Hazelwood. And thank you all for coming. I will be out next week, but back again the week after with more Preptober activities as you know we close in on the end of October. And tomorrow, Patrick and I will be live streaming query rewrites and raising money for reproductive rights. So thank you all for coming. Have a great rest of your Sunday. And hi, Greg.
Hi,
Swinging
Greg.
by just as we were
Bye,
saying,
Greg.
have a great dinner and have a great evening. And we'll see you later.